Welcome to a full force movie news burst special brought to you by GeneralsJoes Reborn with me, Christopher McLeod, aka Diagnostic80, and Justin GeneralsJoes Bell. The brand new full Snake Eyes trailer is here, and we are breaking it down frame by frame. I say frame by frame, but it's actually more like we're just going to break it down. We'll be here for hours if I tried that.
Oh my, yes. Frame by frame, we'd be here for like 8 hours, and yeah, nobody wants that.
A billion screenshots. We're just going to look at every single one of them.
Here's the first second. Here's the second second. Yeah.
Mate, well, let's preface this a little bit, because I mean, obviously, like Saturday night, I think it was, there was a sneaky leak of this trailer.
Yes.
Now, obviously, we kind of decided against really doing anything earlier than today, because just for generally being good people, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working with Paramount PR quite a bit over the past several months. It was kind of in the lead up to the movie. They coordinated the interviews with Henry Golding, of course, and all that stuff. So we really didn't want to be assholes to them and kind of further spread the news of an illegal leak of
and then be like, we're breaking it down now. No, we're not.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. We've seen it. We saw it earlier, but my goodness. But I think also it has to be said, seeing it in like it's the proper way, in higher quality and so on and so forth, wow, absolutely blown away. So, I mean, excited isn't the word. So Saturday night, I was out actually at the cinema watching In the Heights, which was really good, by the way. Go see that if you haven't seen it. Anthony Ramos, who is also going to be in Transformers 7. I'm kind of hoping Transformers 7 is a musical now after watching In the Heights.
Directed by John Chu, who directed G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Exactly,
so 7 degrees of separation.
Exactly. And obviously Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it, and quite a lot of the Hamilton cast. If you guys haven't seen Hamilton, that's also amazing. But got to see the Snake Eyes trailer beforehand, the teaser trailer, I would say. So watching that, enjoying it, come out of the cinema, and all of a sudden it's like, we get a message sent to us and for both of us. Shout out to Ian Carrillo, who found it online. But there had been a leaked video, and we were like, oh no, kind of like a little bit down, because we wanted to do this properly. And that's when we kind of decided, well, let's, obviously we're not going to be sharing it. We made decisions. And then it leaked anyway, sort of. But then it got shut down really quickly. So, hats off to Paramount for doing that. So now, most people would have seen it. It's Monday. It's amazing, Justin. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I was speaking to you off camera a little bit before. When I saw the teaser trailer before, I was excited. I was happy. I was blown. It was beyond my expectations. But my expectation for it was like, this is going to be a good film, I think, and an enjoyable one. After seeing this trailer, and I know this is what trailers are designed for, but my goodness, it looks brilliant, doesn't it?
It looks, they've really managed to flesh things out quite a bit, even with just an extra minute of footage and kind of story. And like you said, whatever, I was already excited, and this has really kind of ramped that up. I can really kind of see the world sort of being formed a little bit more clearly, and see various different roles. I won't go into too much of that now. We'll talk about it as we break down the trailer. But yeah, it made a world of difference, just that extra minute of footage. It's really pretty impressive how they can just expand the trailer a little bit and already ramp up the excitement levels even more.
And you kind of get really good grasps on all the different characters involved as well, which is brilliant. Again, we'll get to that. So, let's get into it, because that's what people are here for. No one turned this on to hear me rambling about seeing a trailer in the Heights. Anyway. Right, okay, so opening scene then. And we begin with our leading man, Henry Golding, in what appears to be a fight club, but we couldn't confirm due to the nature of the rules surrounding Fight Club. I should really stop talking about it.
First rule of Fight Club, Chris, come on.
is tweet about Fight Club, right?
Exactly.
Justin, we knew that Snake Eyes is in this position from leaked plot details, didn't we? But man, this fight looks intense, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It'll be interesting to kind of see, it's kind of curious, because clearly he's got some sort of fighting skills up front, although then he goes to the Arashikage
Spoiler alert.
temple and learns more stuff, I guess. But it's kind of interesting how you can kind of see maybe he's got a little bit of a rough and tumble fight style to begin with. He's obviously pretty tough. He's had a rough life, so he's got some skills there, and then they only kind of get refined later on. But yeah, it was a pretty brutal fight. I really liked it. You really got the gist of how visceral they have the fight scenes going. There's two types of there's more than two types, but there's various different types of these martial arts or hand-to-hand combat movies, and some of them are very flashy, lots of spinning and twirling and acrobatics and stuff, and some are just really brutal kind of contact based, and those are the kinds that I really like. A lot more, like I said, visceral. You can really feel the impact, and that seems to be what they're going for here. You could really feel the body blows. And
no pun intended, but they're not pulling the punches, are they, on this one?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I love that bit where you see he's kind of like losing the fight a little bit, and then he's kind of like goes all Wolverine on him. And then there's just all that kind of like combos to the kind of like he looks like he's just wailing on his groin and just going up higher.
Yeah.
Pa, 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 pa. But yeah, that looks really good, and I was interested to see how that was going to play out when we heard way back when we heard the script leak details.
Yeah,
that put my mind in like some sort of, I don't know, like I was thinking of some sort of like that. That scene in Hot Shots Part 2 where Charlie Sheen is like Rambo, and he's in like a fight. He's like fighting some guy, like street fighting some guy. Yeah. And he's got the wraps on his fingers, and he's going through dipping his hands in like, it's like sticky dips to then put like friggin' sprinkles and stuff on his gloves.
I gotta say, I was not thinking of Hot Shots Part 2.
That's what I was thinking of
as the inspiration for this.
That's what I was thinking of. Real brutal fight scene where they beat each other up with Skittles on their fingers. No, but like your head goes to places, and I think like I've kind of seen a lot of films. Ong Bak was one of those films that kind of like made me think about this a little bit, because if you've seen Ong Bak, that's an amazing movie with Tony Jaa, amazing martial arts movie with Tony Jaa, and there's a few scenes where he's like doing kind of like the kind of paid fights in some sort of like dirty club setting kind of thing, but this kind of took it a little bit further, in my opinion, like this and the visuals. So like I was kind of interested how they were going to go about that, whether it was going to be like this shirtless kind of like, the sexy oiled up kind of like looking, that kind of thing. And instead they've gone for a more gritty, he's wearing clothes, let's face it. He's not like showing off the abs every 5 seconds, which I don't know, might upset a few people. But what were your thoughts like on that as a style, going with that kind of like underground fight club type thing?
Yeah, no, I like it. I think it's great. It could have been kind of blood sportish, where like you said, it's the kumite or whatever without shirts on, but yeah, this makes it feel much more kind of urban, like not so much planned, like he just gets out of work one day and goes to this place and beats the shit out of people for a living.
Yeah, and interesting you should mention work, because that leads us into the second part, doesn't it? Very nice. You and your segues, you're a professional.
I'm all over it.
So we get some more basic plot background in this scene, as Snake Eyes is working at a fish factory, which is clearly connected to this bad man gang, which is led by Kenta, the main villain. There seems to be some sort of relationship as well between Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes already, as Golding is summoned to see the boss, aka Kenta, who is about to dish out some punishment to somebody. You think Snake Eyes, they make it out that Snake Eyes is the one being summoned because he's in trouble. In actual fact, he's being asked to kill Storm Shadow, and I'm guessing here maybe to prove loyalty to the gang, in that sense. And then he refuses, and it all kicks off, and we see this brilliant, like, I don't know, bonding between the two characters, don't we?
Yeah, and I like that they're building the fact that there's a relationship between the two of them before this all kind of turns into the Arashikage
Hey,
temple
fish boy.
And all that. Yeah, exactly. Like there's clearly that they've got some kind of bond, like you said. You don't know what it is, but they are connected. is that connection quite as tight as it might have been if they served together in the military? Maybe not, but it's interesting that they are building some of that background, because I know I have seen some comments about, so wait, so they don't even know each other before they go train at the temple together? I mean, how does that work? But clearly there is some pre-existing relationship, which is good, and I really do. I kind of like how they're forming that bond, and it looks like there's going to be a pretty nasty fight in the warehouse. I mean, from what you can tell, it's the two of them against like 20 other people surrounding them. So,
and this is
kind of cool to see how that works.
And this is as well. This is directly linked, I imagine, to that first video that ever came out during filming, where that guy was in an office building filming that warehouse where it was being filmed, and all of those all of those guys go in to the warehouse. That's obviously like the lead in to Kenta, summoning Snake Eyes and so on and so forth. Yeah, really cool.
Sure.
And you don't. I mean, clearly there's a bond, because you don't get into a fight and then have a nice back-to-back sexy moment, do you? It just doesn't happen.
That was great. I liked them going back to back and kind of glancing at each other. That was pretty cool.
And then kiss. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly. That's not in the trailer, but that happens in the movie.
Well, leaked plot details have suggested. I'd be up
Spoiler
for that.
alert.
I'll be up for that. Right. So next up, then, obviously, Storm Shadow, is indebted to Snake Eyes for not shooting him in the face in that scene. So he takes Snake Eyes to the Arashikage Temple to thank him for saving his life. And this is where we see them take Snake Eyes under their wing, but also make him take part in 3 warrior challenges, which is a bit harsh, isn't it? Because there's that bit where I think Peter Mensa says, like, if you survive, then it's like, I was like, what? Hang on, I just saved his life, and now I've got to fight for survival. But what I'm thinking here is that we've jumped a little bit, and I believe, obviously, in the plot, in the leak that we've kind of seen in the past, I think there's a bridge here somewhere where Snake Eyes requires something of this Arashikage clan. Without going too deep into the spoilers of what we know, that's what I'm thinking there. I'm thinking that there's a thing where, well, he wants to get deeper, and to get deeper, he has to prove himself in a sense.
Exactly. And I think one of the coolest parts about this whole sequence, I thought, was that Storm Shadow was like, we're going home, and Snake Eyes just kind of says, well, don't have a home.
Yeah.
And just the look in his eyes, you could tell he's got, there's a tormented soul there a little bit, just with that little short snippet. And you can really feel like what kind of rough spot he's in. And we don't yet know sort of what his background is. I mean, we've heard some things about the plot, some plot leaks about his father and things like that, but you don't really know the true history of the character, but you can kind of see that haunted look in his eyes, which I thought was really well done in that very short sequence. But yeah, it was interesting kind of how we jump from I'm bringing you under my wing to the Arashikage Temple to 3 warrior challenges, and you may not survive. And it's like,
I just love that from Mensa when he's like, Blind Master's
thanks for saving me,
Blind Master's like, I did 2 of the challenges, but I'm blind, so I failed at one of them. Amazing. Anyway, I wonder what if the Blind Master's blind, I won't finish that sentence. Anyway, right, so next up, and you'll only get that if you know that the Hard Master's in it.
Oh my goodness.
So if Snake Eyes has snakes for eyes, no. Right, so next up, this is a nice little thing, because we get this really cool montage, don't we, where we get the explanation that the Arashikage ninja have been protecting the world for over 600 years. So that's an intriguing prospect right there.
It is.
And then you get this kind of montage of all the loads of cool stuff, like in the forest, like them in like single file going through the forest and then jumping over the buildings, and it just looks really, really cool. We get Snake Eyes running through the forest and jumping and fighting, and I love some of those scenes in that setting. But then we get Scarlet appear, just like coming out of that like Arashikage bit, and we get a few expanded shots of her. We get that same hotel fight scene where she's like seriously kicking some ass on some sort of henchman. Yeah. It's nice to get a little bit more of Scarlet, isn't it, Samara Weaving?
It is, yeah. I was really excited to see a little bit more of her in the trailer, and that's one thing that we still don't have fully fleshed out. I mean, the leaks that we've heard so far have talked a little bit about that, but not really in full detail, kind of what her real connection to Snake Eyes is and where G.I. Joe kind of comes into play. I mean, obviously they're kind of foils for Cobra, you think.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still some mystery around how exactly Scarlet gets connected with Snake Eyes and vice versa. And but she was kicking. I love the scene of her just flipping that guy and knocking him on the floor. That was awesome. You know,
he deserved it. He deserved it.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's very cool. Very cool. I like seeing those little sprinkles of, you know, overarching cinema universe kind of mixed in there, and I'm really hoping that this does well enough that it ends up spinning out into something more well developed, because I think there's a lot of potential there.
Hunt for Infinity Mask. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's also nice as well to get, because you look at, I looked at, you know, I saw that scene of Samara where we see like a good shot of her face and the hair and everything, and you just think that's Scarlet. Like that is Scarlet spot on. So like I'm really happy that she was cast. I think she's a great actress. She's been in a couple of movies that I've really enjoyed. Ready or Not. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's brilliant film. I loved it, and she's great in it. And in fact, when I saw her in that, I thought, yeah, she's gonna be fine. She can do the action stuff. She can do all that. It's gonna be perfect. All right. Well, next up then we get Haruka Abe, aka Kiko. So seeing more of her is always great because she looks like a cracking character. She explains that Cobra is coming and what they're all about. She mentions that she just describes them as a shadow organization devoted to global revolution. That's a very interesting way of saying a terrorist organization, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it is. And obviously they had the big kind of holographic Cobra logo there, which is really cool. Yeah. That was awesome to see. And kind of interesting, you know, connecting to that, we see, I think it was after Scarlet kind of flipped the guy and kind of looked at his jacket.
The Cobra pin,
pin on him.
Yes.
So I think they kind of tied it in that way, but it was certainly interesting that it was Akiko who sort of is the conduit from, you know, Arashikage to Cobra, and that she's obviously aware of Cobra's existence and kind of
she's Mercer.
That.
She's an ex-Viper.
Yeah.
Even big bad cobras need air conditioning. Anyway, right, but it's great, and she's a Brit as well, so all the more to see her on screen. Yeah. I can't wait to see more of these characters, honestly. And then we get this actually as well. As she's describing Cobra, we're just getting loads of Ursula Cabero as the Baroness. Yep. We're getting loads of Cobra troopers kind of flooding in, and they look a bit more like, it looks like, you know, maybe before they've got the money to start pumping in the uniforms and stuff like that. So it's just like balaclavas and black gear and kind of stuff. So they've gone very generic with the troopers at this stage, haven't they?
Right. I liked that you could see them in more detail, because it becomes, in some of the earlier, you know, in the earlier teaser, it was tough to tell whether they were Arashikage ninjas or whether they were Cobra, but this extended trailer, you can really see the separate helmets and balaclavas, and it's clear that they are kind of modeled after a Cobra Trooper kind of look. So, and
then obviously we get the bit that made me get goosebumps all over my body, and that's that the Baroness meets Snake Eyes face to face at some point in this, and she says, "I've been following you for some time," and Henry says, "Do I know you?" He says, "I know you, Snake Eyes." Yeah. Best line of the whole trailer for me. That was just like, boom.
And then you see the dice in his hands.
One of the things is, like, I was interested to see how she was going to play the character, and she just crushes it in that one scene.
Yeah,
and I'm in. Like, this is going to be brilliant, I think.
I think that one, you know, couple of second scene was better than anything Sienna Miller did in Rise of Cobra. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting because you don't really, even in the leaks we've heard about, you don't really get an idea of like what makes Snake Eyes so notorious. Like how did the Baroness even know about him before all of this came out? You know, how has she been following him for some time just because of his underground fight club or whatever? I mean, it's kind of interesting to see sort of how they connect the two of those together. So, but yeah, it was really cool.
There's got to be some history. There's got to be some previous.
Absolutely.
Snake Eyes has to have some sort of connection. We know a little bit, but again, we're steering away from spoiler stuff. If you don't know about the plot details that were released a while back. That's why Justin and I, you're probably going, but you guys have already spoken about this on like your plot reveal news burst. It's like, but this is going out general spoiler free. So we're only spoiling the trailer, which is out and accessible to everybody. So Okay, so that yeah, we get the Baroness, and just cannot wait to see her in that character.
I know.
Just more scenes. Oh, it's gonna be great. We get like tons of action at this point, don't we? More footage on the bike, including that cool like where he spins round so he's facing the other way on the bike, and then can cut the other bike. So we're seeing more of that scene that we saw in the teaser trailer, but kind of like fleshed out, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really cool, kind of how they're showing all that stuff. And I liked that was the part that they didn't show in the teaser, but they did show in kind of that behind the scenes sort of short clip that
the featurette,
they showed.
yes,
yeah, the featurette where he cuts off the front of the motorcycle, and that was it's a really cool touch. And you got to figure, I mean, again, trying to stay away from spoiler territory, but there's something about his sword that is pretty interesting throughout the movie, because you wouldn't think a normal sword could kind of cut through the front axle of a motorcycle like that, but clearly there's something perhaps a little bit different here.
We've got a few kitchen knives that might do it.
But I just love that scene. That was one of my favorite scenes in the entire, like, combined, the featurette and the teaser combined. That was like the highlight of it, was cutting off the front of the motorcycle and sending it flipping through the air, which is really, really awesome.
I think mine still hasn't hit yet, but we'll talk about that in a second. That was really cool. And something I will mention, the guy on the bike where he cuts the bike and the guy flies off does look a little bit like the Ninja Tech Snake Eyes figure that we're getting in the core Ninja figure assortment, which Justin and I will be discussing next week on the weekly movie burst that we're going to be talking about. But yeah, like I was quite interested in that kind of like almost like neon blue kind of colouring, like lines and stuff. Yeah, quite interesting to see what that is actually all about, and if it is related to that Ninja Tech Snake Eyes
Definitely.
scene. This was really interesting as well. This is a new scene that hasn't been seen anywhere else, and it's a shot of a figure in all black. I'm guessing Snake Eyes with his helmet kind of attached to his back. Walking through this yellow, beautiful, like yellow hallway. Yeah. And like that's something really new, and I had to slow that down and have a real good look at it.
Yeah, and the gear certainly looks, the uniform he's wearing certainly looks kind of like not traditional ninja uniform. It looks kind of more armored and souped up, like it would be the Snake Eyes kind of battle uniform. Yeah, I really like that. I think it's probably Snake Eyes. Certainly seems like it. But yeah, that was an interesting new angle and a different look at him, which was really cool.
I'm waiting for some like really random homage, like some character we didn't even know was in it to kind of like appear when we actually see the film, and it's like,
I know,
Kamakura, or like something crazy like that. That'd be so dope. Yeah, so we get that scene, and then we get my favorite scene of all time in movie history, and that is Akiko, and this is expanded too. We get to see her on the bike, jumping off it, like doing the kind of parkour between the spinning parkour between the two vehicles, chopping the two dudes down, and then returning the swords and getting on the bike, like landing on the bike. I'm just like, oh my god! I can't wait to see that, and it's on the big screen in full. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, it was really cool to see in the full trailer how she actually lands back on the bike. Yeah, because that wasn't clear from the teaser. You saw her.
I just thought she was like, this is a one and done move.
Yeah, the motorcycle's gone, it's done, but no, cuts them up and then jumps right back on. That was pretty bad.
So cool. More Scarlet and Baroness fight scene footage, and then also other famous Uzi in a car chase scene before two characters jump off the cars at each other to reveal the logo, and then that kind of brings it to what you think is a conclusion. But before we get to the it's not a conclusion part yet, spoiler, that part where they're jumping off the cars, I can't tell. I know one of them's Snake Eyes, obviously. I wonder if the other one's just a generic dude, because he's got like longish hair, and I don't like that. Doesn't vibe with Storm Shadow. It doesn't vibe with Penta. He's with Storm Shadow in that scene anyway, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
So
because that seems like it might be before or after when he's in the car firing the Uzi. Storm Shadow's actually driving the car throughout that scene. So it does seem to be.
Actually, I'll correct you there, Justin. Storm Shadow is in the car with him, but Snake Eyes is driving.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Not only is he driving, but he pulls that move whilst driving.
That's right, with the Uzi while he's driving. Yeah. Yes, of course.
When you mentioned is Storm Shadow in the car with him when we first saw the teaser, I'm like, right, I'm having a look, and he's like, holy crap, Golding's driving. That must have been hardcore.
No kidding.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what you think is it, and then you got the logo. And then there's another little scene right at the end We get a final shot of Snake Eyes putting on the helmet, which has some crazy, I was going to say Iron Man tech, but it's like, it's more like Peter Quill's magic, helmet on Guardians of the Galaxy, isn't it? And he hosses off on a bike, leaving all the Arashikage dudes behind him. So what do you think of that little sequence at the end?
That was cool. Yeah, it is kind of weird seeing the visor as some kind of ratcheting mechanical thing, but I think it's a neat, more modern sort of way to look at it. I mean, just the fact that we saw him with the mask, I think, is awesome. We still don't really know how much he wears it in the film, but clearly he wears it some. I'm hoping that's not like the closing scene, and that's the only time he really has the mask on, is for that last taking off on the motorcycle. But actually, we know it's not, because they did that character snippet, and there's a scene of him in the mask kind of swinging the swords. There's at least some action with him in the mask.
I actually think the obviously the bike scene seems to be where that's going to be worn majoritively early on as a motorcycle helmet. But I think it looks really cool. Actually, I think the whole thing just looks so good. It's way beyond expectations, and I think there's an element of obviously bias, excitement that goes along with it for us.
Sure.
But I really have been excited, and now I'm just take me there now, please.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing a great. It's taken a while to get to this point, and I do wish they'd kind of started the trailers a little bit earlier in the process. But yeah, they really seem to be hitting it on all cylinders now with all the promotional stuff they're doing, from the teaser to the character, the comic to movie translation stuff that we got last week. The motion posters, and now the extended trailer. Now things are really starting to kind of pick up steam, which is pretty cool. And yeah, like you said, we're G.I. Joe fans. We're gonna be biased towards it. We're gonna get our anticipation ramped up a lot more. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of great stuff that I love. I mean, the scene with the mask flipping down is really cool. It's a nice modern twist to it. I really can't wait to kind of see how this develops. One thing that was interesting, I thought, when the visor was up, you kind of got to look at his eyes. It doesn't look like he's got any scarring on his face or anything like that yet. So I'm not sure, we still don't know exactly when that all happens.
Honestly, I think they're holding out on that aspect of it. We're probably not, unless there's because you usually get a couple, maybe 3 trailers as well as a teaser, don't you, sometimes, for most of the big movies. So we'll probably see maybe one more, I would imagine, before the movie comes out. Yeah,
they usually have a quote-unquote final trailer kind of shortly before the movie is released. So it's possible we may get a final trailer that has some more additional footage in it.
It's turning into Optimus Prime's trailer at the moment. Just appears and then disappears when he's transformed. No, that makes no sense whatsoever. No, I've got to admit, I'm super excited. When it leaked and I watched it, I was like, this is amazing. This is beyond my expectations. And seeing it again today and just being like, oh my god, this is just the best. This is the best I think it could possibly have been for a G.I. Joe Snake Eyes, at least, trailer. We haven't got to the part where I say it's the best Snake Eyes G.I. Joe movie they could have done, but we will hopefully we'll know very soon. What is it now? Or just over a month.
Just over a month, yeah.
A month and 3 days.
Crazy.
Anyway, right.
Here, I'll just have to hope one of my local theaters opens before then, because they're both still closed.
Mate, that sucks. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to be traveling to New York to watch it.
That would be cool.
So I'll have to get on a train. I'll have to see other people outside.
Yeah, that's a little scary.
No, I'm not for that. Anyway, Justin, mate, thanks for coming on and breaking down the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins full trailer, which dropped earlier this morning on Monday. And hopefully, guys, you'll have seen it now, and you can watch this and disagree with everything we say and
tell us how wrong we are.
Tell us how wrong and how bad it's going to be. No, seriously, I think if you're also enjoying this and you thought it was a great trailer, let us know in the comments. Hit us up. We'll be talking about this all week, no doubt. We've got a little bit more. We've still got quite a few days left in the month of June, so no doubt we're going to be seeing even more. I mean, it's been crazy this month. I know Snake Eyes is just a month away, so you kind of have to accept or expect G.I. Joe movie news and G.I. Joe movie things, but it has worked so well with Yojo June to be like almost like every day, multiple things just happening. You know?
We have been flooded with information this whole month, pretty much. And like you said, it's not over yet. There's 10 more days. I wouldn't be surprised if we get another Fan Fest Friday before the month is over. I mean, it's been great.
It's been great on one side, and it's been absolutely exhausting on the other. But I'm not going to complain.
It does kind of make me wonder. I mean, wasn't there a guy on Twitter that was like saying how Yojo June was a lie or something like that? I don't know.
I saw that crop up.
I got tagged in a couple of tweets.
Every time I posted something, I didn't really understand what they mean. I mean, does he mean like, in that case, is it like, are we in the Matrix because everything's a lie? Because I'm pretty sure I've been like seeing G.I. Joe things on a regular basis this month.
And we had Target pre-orders that actually lasted longer than 5 minutes. I mean, it's like, goodness gracious, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, I think there's been a lessening of the anger recently, and I think a lot of it had to do with the Target or the pre-orders kind of happening without really causing much of a stir, which was incredible. Like,
and I think people will feel better probably if Hasbro can get sort of the Cobra Trooper and the Cobra Viper back into circulation. Maybe if that's happening, I think that'll ease a lot of frustrations. But I mean, from what I'm hearing about Major Blood, I mean, you can get him relatively easily. He was on Target.com, I think, a couple days ago.
I was refreshing that page to see how long Barbecue would last. And boink, up he comes. Barbecue and Breaker, technically. I still find it incredible that Barbecue's still in stock. It's mind-blowing.
It's been days.
That he has now obliterated the world record.
I know.
I mean, when it actually does go out of stock, I'm going to have to check the exact time just so that we can keep an account of this every single time. Because the rest are easy. The rest are all losing by literal days and because they were up for milliseconds.
And you know, the minute that he gets sold out, you're going to find some Joe fans somewhere that says, "Oh, I was waiting for payday and he sold out," and getting all pissed off and everything. It was only 6 days.
I do feel for those that are in different countries that are struggling to get them and everything. Totally, but honestly, it's getting better and easier, and I think as it does get better and easier, hopefully it'll get better and easier elsewhere in the globe too. So it sucks if you can't get involved at the moment, and we do feel your pain on that one, but there are so many avenues that I found it hard to avoid them, honestly. But that, again, that's, I'm in a privileged position of being here in the States where you can have multiple different stores and so on and so forth. Anyway, Justin, mate, thanks for jumping on, man. Really loved talking Snake Eyes, the full trailer. We'll be back again on the weekend with a weekly roundup of all the movie stuff. Jeez, man, it's so much now. I've had to separate Justin from the regular weekly because he just can't spare the time. We can't spare 3 hours to talk about G.I. Joe.
Wish I could. I'd much rather be doing that than my day job, that's for sure.
Day jobs are for losers.
No kidding.
Right, that's it for this Movie News Burst special. Thank you to my awesome co-host, Justin Bell. See you next time. And as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 fours. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/TheFullForce podcast, or click the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.